Hello everybody and welcome. We are looking at a brand new knife today. Today we're going to take a look at the Civivi Ki-V. And so this knife was recently released, and its unique size is what kind of prompted me to want to pick this one up, because it is a very small folding knife with a lot of really neat features that are kind of packed into it. So let's just take a look at this and some comparisons. So the Civivi Ki-V, it is a kind of a front flipper action right there. But this is a take on a folding Kiridashi style knife. So we have a very flat blade profile right there, and it holds in the hand relatively comfortably, but it's small. It's a tiny knife. It's meant to be the kind of knife that fits in, your front jeans pocket. So the overall length of this knife is about 4 inches when fully opened. So it is very small, very tiny sized. The blade length is about 1.5 inches. And so that puts it into a very unique category of knife because it's very small, very lightweight. So it's something you can throw in a pocket, throw in a bag, and just pull it out when you absolutely need it. But being this really small size, it is not a locking knife. And so one of the ideas here is not only do we have a very small knife, we have a non-locking blade. So that way it's legal in a lot of areas that restrict locking knives. So it uses a double detent, which clicks in place when you open the blade. But there is no real lock, so you just have to push on it to close it. And so it's a unique action as a result, because that detent is enough to hold it in place when you flip it. So it's still kind of flickable, has a little bit of fidgety action there. It has a nice deep carry pocket clip, one position only, as you can see. And when you do carry it, it's relatively flat, so it's easy in and out of pocket. So that's kind of a nice thing. But the blade is this really nice stonewash finish. And it's going to be hard to pick up on camera, but taking a look at the details on the blade, what we have written on there in very small text is the name of the designer. So this is an Ostap Hel design. And so he's designed a few other knives, ones that I have as well, and I'll compare those to them in a little bit. But this knife right here has the big C Civivi branding on the pivot. And the only other markings on the blade that are there, again, very small text. You probably won't make it out, but right here at the top of the blade, it says 9CR 18 MOV. And that is the blade steel we're looking at here. So 9CR isn't the highest end steel, but this knife also doesn't cost a whole lot of money. So it comes in at around $45. This particular one I picked up at White Mountain Knives because after their 10% off coupon, this was the absolute cheapest I was able to get it from any dealer. So kind of a neat little deal that we have right here. And I say it's a deal because other knives from this designer, especially coming from Bestech, are priced significantly higher because they use higher end blade steel, titanium, things like that. So let's take a quick look at what came with this knife. So it came in a zippered pouch, which is kind of nice. Just a little bit of paperwork, a couple of stickers. I do like the sticker. This is a Elementum. I don't have this knife, but it's kind of cool they threw it in with this Civivi as well. Just a generic Civivi sticker. I do find it kind of humorous. We have this tiny knife, and it came with this relatively oversized cloth in there, so that's kind of cool. But just a nice little wipe down cloth. And I think it's a limited time offer as of right now, but it did come with a lanyard and a copper bead, or maybe that's brass, but you can see it's sealed to keep out corrosion. So it has a little bead as well as a lanyard. And I think every dealer at this point is offering this with any Civivi Knives purchase or We Knives purchase. I think it's a limited time deal. And I didn't know White Mountain was even offering this because they weren't advertising it like the other dealers were. But they did throw this in, so that's kind of cool. Little freebie right there. But I do want to make a few quick comparisons of the Ki-V to other small knives, kind of in the same class. So let's open this up and lay it out. Take this other stuff off the table for now. So let's make a quick comparison to my standby, which I put in many of my videos. So we have a Kershaw Blur right here. So just side by side, and of course you get an idea of the size difference there. So remember, the Ki-V is 4 inches in overall length, so it is a small knife. I do have other small knives, and most notably, I have a few of my Kershaw's, my California Legal mini autos. So this right here is the Launch 9, I think it is. and we can take a look at the Launch 4 as well. So again, even compared to other small pocketable knives, the Ki-V is coming in a little bit smaller because the blade is just tiny. It's a very, very diminutive knife. So we have 2 California legal autos, and both of these are sub 2-inch blades. But that being said, the Ki-V coming in at 1.5 inches is even smaller than that. So there's not a whole lot to compare to it size-wise, but I will pull out my other knife from Ostap Hel. This one right here is the Strelit. So another very small knife, wicked hawkbill blade. It's kind of a punch knife. I made a video on this one as well, but just side-by-side comparison. Let's do that. So you can see they're both, again, pretty small knives. The Strelit is a little punch dagger, also very small, but it fits your hand very well because of the shape, just because of the natural grip you give it. So kind of a unique design, and this one again cost 4 times as much as the Ki-V because of the materials, the titanium, the carbon fiber, I think it's S35 VN on this one. So it's a very high-end knife, materials-wise. And so Civivi went with this one being a budget knife so that it can get into more people's hands. This particular one is the Jade G10, which I do plan on dyeing. So that's one of the reasons why I chose this one. So I'm not going to make it part of this video because the dye is still on the way, but I did order some RIT dye, some tropical teal, to kind of give it some unique pop. So at the end of this video as well, I'm going to disassemble the Ki-V and see how that goes. I'm hoping none of the screws strip, but with Civivi, it's generally a good quality knife, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. So out of the box, though, I will mention the action was not super flippy. It was a little bit gritty before I was able to get it to really come out reliably like a flipper. It looks like you could use it as a front flipper, but it's kind of a small knife. There's not a lot to grip on to do it that way. So you're going to want to use your regular pointer finger and light switch it open, essentially. But it was gritty out of the box. I've just been working at it. And again, I'm going to disassemble it, so I didn't bother putting any lubricant or anything in it because I know I'm going to take it apart anyway. But once I do get it all done, tealed out, colored, and everything for sure, I'm going to put some lube in there just to help it come out more easily. So a double detent knife operates just like a slip joint. And I have one other that I'm going to kind of show off a little bit. So this right here is the Monterey Bay Knives EWC, everywhere carry knife. And so there are no comparison size-wise here, but what we do have a comparison of is just the action, because I'm assuming that the Ki-V will eventually break in like the EWC does. So take a look, just how easy it is to flick open and closed. It's all that double detent, keeping the blade open. And this one's really fun to play with, because there's no lock, but it's super easy to flick open. And so I'm hoping eventually the Ki-V will operate just like this one does. And we're just going to have to wait and see on that, because again, part of the process here is going to be dyeing the scales, and that'll involve a takedown. So everything's coming apart anyway. But before we're done, I'm just going to disassemble the knife on camera. So stay tuned for that, and then I will post a video update once it's all colored, but it's not going to be anytime soon because, again, the dye is still on the way because they were out of stock when I tried to purchase some online. So if you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comments below, but other than that, just stick around if you want to see the knife come apart. I have never taken apart a double detent knife before, so hopefully this is going to be interesting. We'll wait and see. All right, bye-bye.